understand, he was a colonel, and yet he was treated as a civilian by the British Army. So I suppose he was...
He was, they used to call him captain or something. And then the King George V was king at the time, and he went down to Laffin's Plain to meet him for the first time. And he said, "How do you do, Colonel?
Oh, okay.
Pleased to meet you, Colonel." So the name stuck.
Ah.
From that time they called him Colonel.
Oh, he was inadvertently promoted by the king.
Yes, he was. Yes.
slip of the tongue.
Now, this is the whole family. That's Leela, his mother.
Right, wow.
That's Cody. Cody.
Yeah.
That's his wife. And this young chap here was Paul's father.
Wow.
That's Vivian. Wow. He was the trick shot.
Oh, hanging upside down.
He's the one that used to hang upside down, yeah.
Wow. And who's this chap?
Shoot glass. Oh, he's, wasn't that Sam or...
Leon.
I'm not sure which one.
Leon.
Leon, that's right, that's it, yeah.
Was that another son of Sam?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all sons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Edward, Vivian, Leon.
Yeah.
I'll take a picture of it.
Yeah, of course you can.
Brilliant photograph.
As you come out of the station, that's Vale Croft, where Paul lived, and that's my house up there where I live.
Yep. Must have been standing under the archway there.
Yeah,
That's estate agents.
I don't know who took the photograph. It's one we got from somewhere. Yeah. But this one, an aunt of mine sent me. She lived in, that was Paul when he was about 13.
Wow.
And they just found this in the loft of one of the houses.
So this is Paul Hamilton Cody?
Yeah, your Paul.
Oh.
My Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they just found this model of this plane up in the loft of one of the... was it one of the...
Be worth a fortune.
Yeah. And
what a collector's item.
she sent it. Wow. She sent it over to me. That's the family again.
And this is taken in England?
I don't know whether it was or not. It might have been in Paris somewhere, because he did spend a lot of time in France.
Now, how can any woman have a waist that narrow?
Leela, yeah. Well, you should see the thing that she stood in was an exact replica of her figure.
Wow.
And she used to stand in that while they shot at her with the glass balls, you know.
Take a picture of that. Wow.
There.
Cody Car's just on there.
Cody Car is just there, yeah. This is the house. And that's him again. One of his
wow.
Sherman days.
I'll take a picture of that.
Well, no, I was going to put, hang on. Oh, we've contacted him.
That's Paul.
Paul, yeah.
When I met him after 56 years.
Wow.
Cody
He was a handsome fellow in his day.
He was a lovable,
very lovable
fellow. And that's the old canal, Basingstoke Canal, which is just up past the railway there.
Yeah.
Where we used to spend a lot of time as kids along that path there, fishing with their nets. Well, that's Cody with that pistol I told you.
Okay, the automatic pistol.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's no trace of it left. Nobody knows where it went.
Huh?
But
so is he firing it there?
Yes, he's loading it, firing it there.
All right. Wow.
So this is when we took Paul to Bisley.
Yeah.
There.
He was getting very overweight then.
He was on the old running deer target there. Yeah, see, look at his stomach.
Yeah. I remember some people stopped us in Paris and said, "Excuse me, sir, but you look just like Orson Welles." He said, "Madam, I am Orson Welles."
Is that what he said? Yeah, he would do. That's one of his kites.
His kites,
The old colonel.
Wow.
Now this was at Leslie's funeral. Leslie was Paul's brother. And
Is that you and Paul?
yeah, there's
You got your arms around each other. Yeah, I love it. Brotherly love.
yeah. He used to do trick riding with that horse.
And he used to ride round Aldershot and Farnborough, just down the high street,
he
and
did.
stopping people and just sort of.
And the horse he trained the horse to roll over and play dead, you know.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And that looks like it's probably on Laffin's plane. We did have fun in Paris.
Yes.
And he could speak French just like a natural.
Yeah. He was, you know, he never ceased to surprise me, Paul.
Well, I came down into the foyer of our hotel once, and he was in this long conversation in pure German with this professor guy from Turkey. He was a geologist professor. And when I came down, I said, "Oh, Paul, I've got your thing for you." There you go, mate. He said, "Oh, you're English, are you?" Looks at Paul. I thought he was German.
Yeah, he was so good.
Amazing.
Oh, now this is, when I told you when we went to Middle Wallop Air Museum, when we got there was a Cody exhibition was on. We didn't know, and it was just a coincidence. So I said, I said I knew the Cody family quite well, and so he said, "Oh, really?" Oh, he said he was to have your photograph taken there. So he took the barrier down, and I stood in there amongst it all. And this is one of the Michelin trophies there. There was one in either side of the fireplace, and we used to ride those. Paul and I used to ride them because they were quite big, you know, just about that high.
When you were kids?
When we were kids, yeah. And this is some of Cody's rifles, and that is a Colt revolving rifle, and there aren't too many of those around. Valuable.
So where are they now, those
One of
guns?
Cody's kites. Well, they've all been sold off at the big sale they had when he died. Another one of his kites. This is the boys' workshop. Claire sitting in there, and amongst all some of Cody's, that's one of his kites, and the propeller off all things.
I knew it if I'd when I see it, I know it. But
And,
SS,
that's another one.
SSE something.
They were selling these cars. They were electric toy cars for kids, you know. Beautiful things, very expensive. Electric motors in. Oh, this one here. When
fishing.
Cody was given one of those Michelin trophies for when he sailed across the channel. He was towed by a kite across the channel, and that's when he's on the Thames and he's practicing.
Well, wind changes direction.
Yeah,
Taking it all ways.
Yeah, you've got to pick your day, you know. Pick your moment.
Looks like that car got left in the wash.
Yeah.
Shrunk. Colonel Cody on his early episodes. Wow.
Papa.
Alarms going
Papa.
Look at that.
They call
Look
him.
at the protection he's got around him. Nothing.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's another one here where he's so padded out because it's in the winter, and he can hardly get his arms down to the side. But that wheel there?
That's down.
Yeah.
Never worked.
That's how he used to start the engine. And he was the only man that could do it, was strong enough to do it. Again, against the compression of the engine,
Yeah.
he could spin it.
Crikey.
So that was a green engine. It was a big engine. And when we went over to John's house to see him over there, the settee, it was behind the settee. This bloody great green engine.
Amazing. And that was just the start of the modern era, modern transportation.
It was.
Yeah. And Leela was the first lady to fly in England. Over at Farnborough, they got the Cody tree, did you know?
Yeah. They made a copper casting of it, didn't they?
They have, yeah. Yes. I don't know whether it's aluminium or something, isn't it? Or resin or something like that. I don't know what it is. But it's, that's where he used to tie his butcher's, and there's a picture of it here. He's still got the butcher's balance that he used to tie between the plane and the tree.
There's so many.
and then rev the engine to measure the thrust. You know.
Wow. Well, as to how much the tree bent. Oh, 6 inches. Oh, that's 45 horsepower.
Paul,
I'm not sure when he became aware that the Farnham Cricket Club captain, Paul Evans, I think his name is.
yeah, that's right.
Just
Evans, yeah.
totally terrified in the back of his aeroplane.
Yes, I've only recently
pulled the scarf, and how long does it take to pass out when you've got no blood going to your brain? Not very long, a few seconds, isn't it? Yeah. And he just killed them both.
Yeah. The official report was that the plane broke up in the air, but
I forgot about that.
yeah. This is that Mrs. Roberts, which I told you was just up the road at Frimley, a little bit further up the road, and she's in her house. She's got a blue plaque on the wall now there, and but everything in her house is to do with Cody.
Wow.
Everything. So I went over and God, blew me away. You know, the houses, even the cushions on the settee are all embroidered with Cody's picture and things, and aircraft, and all up the stairs, and on his coffin they had a wreath made of the wheel and that part of the control in flowers.
Wow.
And he had one of there was about 25,000 people at his funeral. It was like a pop star, you know.
Yeah.
That's, and this is in the military cemetery.
And
he was given the honour of being buried in the military cemetery, and there's no civilian has ever been given that.
Oh.
So he and Leela.
But he basically started off the Royal Air Force, didn't he? I mean, it was his baby to start all that off.
Well, he had a lot to do with the balloon factory, yes, which Vivian, Paul's father, he worked at the balloon factory with and had kites as well, but it mostly balloons.